In this special episode, we're taking 3 of our best prime rib videos ever, and we're giving you more tips, more tricks to get this done, to get it the best way on the table, to make it the best holiday meal ever. So come on, because the chairs are going to fill up at the table fast. Hey, thank y'all for stopping by for a special Christmas edition. Yes, it is. Hey, it's about Christmas. You're supposed to be giving, so what are we doing? We're going to give you an extra video this week. Before we begin, I got a little favor I need to ask of you. A lot of you are subscribed. If you're not, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I still get every week some of them saying, hey, I thought you'd quit making videos. But also, a thing that is very important that helps our channel grow, and it tells the folks at YouTube, hey, I like this, hit that like button, but also comment. That's going to help this video reach more people, help our channel grow. But what are we doing? We're sharing the food and love with everybody out there. So like and comment. We'll answer it back. I'm trying. So let's get after some more prime ribs. The one that come out first, and so many of you have cooked it, and it's got over 1 million of views, it does. That is foolproof prime rib. You're going to put this in the oven at a 500-degree temperature, and then when it cooks so long, you're going to turn it off and let it just go ahead and cook as it cools off. Now, some of these newer ovens that they have come out with have an automatic cooling device. When that oven shuts down, they cool off quick. So I'm telling you that I didn't put in the video, do you a dry run with a good oven temperature thermometer sitting on that rack. Like 5 minutes a pound. So if you're cooking a 6-pound roast in 30 minutes at 500 degrees and then you turn that oven off, I need you to look at it right then and see what that temperature is. It ought to be 500 degrees. Now, 15 minutes in, you need to look at it again. And if it's done drop down in there below 200, hey, this ain't going to work for you, because your oven has an automatic cooling device that's going to help that. We got about a 6-pound rib roast, standing rib roast, prime rib. But hey, 6-pound roast, I'm going to take that thing out of the ice box that morning and set it on the counter and let it warm. Now, a lot of people are going to say, hey, I don't know about that. Folks, you got to let this big old rib roast warm up to get an even cook time all the way throughout. Now, this ain't going to happen in 45 minutes. I would say if you're going to cook this for the night's supper, I would take it out at least at noon and then set it on that counter and you're good to go. Now, when you get that thing out of there, we need to season it really well. Soften me a stick of butter, let it out here at room temperature. Mix me in some of them folks that Shan really got me fond of, and that is them Herbies. Fresh rosemary, fresh thyme, 4 cloves of garlic, a little smoked paprika, some coarse sea salt, some coarse ground pepper, a little Red River Ranch. Whew, it is going to be good. Now, to me, if you're eating a rib roast, that thing has got to come out of there rare. Yeah, that's the way I like it. But some of you are saying, oh, I want to go medium rare. Well, we'll adjust that temperature on the rest time a little bit to get you there. Now remember, 500 degrees, preheat that oven. That's hot. So how long do you cook that at 500 degrees? Well, it weighed 6 pounds, and we're going 5 minutes a pound. So that's 30 minutes at 500. Then we're going to turn the oven off, plumb off, and we ain't going to touch it. We ain't going to look at it. We ain't going to do nothing. And when you pull it out of there, what's it going to be? Delicious prime rib, medium rare. Okay, I know you're a watchdog. I want you to sit here and watch that and make sure nobody gets near it. 30 minutes. Where does it say? Off. Now remember, you cannot open that door until 2 hours. We're going to check it. Then we're going to take a meat thermometer and we're going to see if it's about 120 to 125. Because when we bring it out to let that thing rest before we cut it, the internal temperature on there as it sets is going to rise. So it's probably going to jump up another 5 to 10 degrees, which will still keep it in the medium rare range, and it needs to be cut and served at that point. But the most important thing is when you put it in that pan and you slide it in the oven, make sure it is in the middle of that oven. That's a tip I'm giving you. I don't want the rack too tall. I don't want it too low. I want it right in the middle, and make sure you have airspace from one side of the oven to the other, top and bottom. It needs to be pretty well the same, where you can get good airflow and circulation to where you're going to do this. Ain't that pretty? It looks like a pretty good piece of meat to me, so we're going to check this rascal. Do not hit a bone. We go into the center of the meat, which is there. 121, 22, 123 is exactly where it is. So it's going to warm up as it sits here a minute. So we're going to let this rascal sit just a little bit. You can see there's bones sticking out here. Now, if you want, you can grab the shank of them right there. It's going to tilt your knife just a little to hit the bone, and then just follow that curvature around, and it's going to come right off there. Now, you can do this either way you want. We can take the bone out, or we can leave the bone in. We went ahead and deboned her. Check that outside edge. I always slice that cap off the end there because I want to see. I'm in a hurry. I want to know what's happening. It is right. Took her out against the grain. Now the grain of this meat is running long ways with this rib roast, and we're going to slice against the grain every trip. Slices like butter, it does. Now people ask, can you do this with 2 roasts at one time? If your oven is big enough. Remember that circulation deal I told you about? If you got a pan over here and a pan over here, make sure you're not touching the walls of that oven. Make sure you have even airflow all the way around. And you can cook as many in there as you can get in the oven. My next most favorite way to cook prime rib is what? Smoked prime rib. Yeah, I'm talking about on the grill. Now, sure, I love that one in the oven. And if you're going to cook it and call me over, I'll sure eat. But this one, folks, it's going to give you some of that good smoky flavor that you blend in there just right, that just makes things out of this world. I'm talking about this rib roast. Woo-wee! And folks, I done got me a 6-pounder, good certified Angus beef it is. When you get that and you go to look for a piece of a rib roast, there's different grades when you get select choice and prime. Now prime rib is, it's what we're after. Tell your butcher, I gotta feed, maybe like 8 or 9 or 10 people. He'll figure it up for you. You want about 1 pound per person. This is a 6-pounder because it's feeding the Beak and Duke. Me and Shan probably ain't going to get none. And when you get it out of that package, I want you to take some paper towels, pat it dry all the way over. I mean, everywhere. Make sure that it is the driest thing. Just get it all good and dry because it's going to let that seasoning adhere to it even better. You need about 4 tablespoons of butter. Cut it off right there before we ever start anything. Lay it on some tinfoil, oh so pretty, and just cut it in little fingerlings, about, I'd say maybe a 1/2 inch wide, something like that, and just lay them out across there. Put them in the freezer. Let them go about 30 minutes because we need them to set up. I need you to get 10 garlic cloves. Yep, you heard me right. And I need you to mince them on in there. Squeeze that little pistol there. Get all that goodness out in there. I need you to take a wooden dowel rod, end of a wooden spoon, something, and I need you to go to poking holes across here. And then I need you to put that garlic in there, that minced garlic. Not a whole garlic clove. To me, them whole garlic cloves, sure, they add some flavor, but they ain't spreading it throughout that meat. So with this minced garlic that we got, rake it over, pack it in that hole, just like loading an old muzzle loader before you went that flintlock. Ha-kaboom! That's what I'm talking about. Flip it over. Now it's time to insert the frozen butter into the meat. Now, I need you to season really, really well. I'm talking all over the place because, folks, too many times when people go to cook a piece of meat, they overcook the meat, but they underseason it to begin with. Make sure, this is 6 pounds of meat. We need a lot of seasoning. On these edges that are cut, both of them through here, take that coarse ground black pepper and rub some on top of that, and then give it a sprinkling right here. And then guess what? Sing it a little bedtime song because it's going in the icebox, it is, for about 3 days. Uncover it. Don't be putting nothing on it. No, that's what Shan was trying to get to me. It ain't going to be sealed up nowhere, but it's going to let that seasoning get down in there and permeate. That is a big word right there. But folks, this thing is going to season. This thing is going to take in so much flavor in 3 days that you're going to think, this is the best prime rib I ever eat in my life. Now, if you've got a rack that will fit there in that pan, it's even better. I set mine in there just in the pan, but I have found out through experience, if you got a rack that'll fit in that pan to give a little air circulation around there, it's going to help this thing. We're sort of like wet aging some beef here, and we're going to get more of that flavor. There's a very important tip that I'm going to give you that I didn't give you before. Make sure it is above beagle height. Do you know what Christmas is like when you come in there and you see the beagle jerk your prime rib off the counter?
We do.
We do know what that is like. So be careful. Put it up here on about an 8-foot shelf or something like that to where nobody can get it. And let's go ahead and preheat that grill smoker / whatever you got. I'm going to put mine on a hasty bake. Went over here to our little old hasty bake. You can do this on a smoker. But folks, we're going to be cooking indirect most of the time. But we're going to sear first. Because a lot of folks be telling you, well, when you smoke that prime rib, you just can't get that good crust on there that I really be liking. Oh, you can, folks. Because we're going to baptize it by fire today. We are. This thing is going to get over, get seared all the way around. Then we're going to scoot it back over on the indirect side, and we're about 30 minutes a pound. But folks, you need to have you one of them temperature probes, because you want to cook this, I do, for me and Shannon the Vegan Duke, to about 115, 117. Then you're going to tin it and let it set. The temperature is going to rise to 120 to 122. So let's get it over here and get to searing. And folks, I need you to set it down on there. Hear that sound? That's a good sound. Let me tell you what really pairs well with some good prime rib. If we're going to do some smoking on there, some wood, I like to get 3 in there at the same time. Start out with oak, add mesquite, and then add some apple. I think it really does a great flavoring there, but you can use peach. I don't like to use a really harsh smoke like mesquite all by itself together. I've done it, but it can get a little overpowerful when you have to cook something maybe about 3 hours here. I mean, they'd be loving some beef. And folks, that thing cut like butter, because guess what? There was some butter in there, they was. But now, at an hour and a half in, I come out here and I put me some more apple wood on there and just a little bit more mesquite. But a 6-pound roast running about 250 to 260, and the big says it's time to eat. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you as a tip that I didn't do on this one that you can do, after you've got that thing seared really good on that hot fire, put it, instead of putting it directly on the grill, get you a good aluminum foil, tin pan, whatever you got that you want to catch them drippings in, put it on a wire rack. But remember, you're going to have to then rotate that thing every once in a while to where everything is a really even cook time on there. But it makes that stuff, how do they spell it? A-U-S-J something. Au jus, what is it, Shan? Au jus. You'll get that drippings that comes off that prime rib. That stuff is so good. You can get you 3 dozen biscuits and sop in there. That prime rib is cooled. Remember, them end cuts, they're for the folks that might want medium rare to a little more medium. Rest of it, you're good to go. But folks, if I had to pick my all-time favorite here of all it was, it would be this one. But I got one more coming up that's going to blow your socks off. When you can deep fry a ribeye for Christmas or Thanksgiving, you done up the game, and Santa going to bring you more presents. And as usual, everything that we use will be listed down below in the little description. Shan always takes care of us. So, Michael, you've really got my excitement level built way up to the top with this prime rib.
This is a unique experience. I don't do a lot of cast iron cooking. I don't do a lot of pitchfork work.
Yeah.
But we're going to put a pitchfork into a prime rib and put it into a deep fried situation.
Now, a lot of them pitchforks, they painted with some black spray paint to make them look really decorative as you're working in the garden tilling your soil. But they're not meant to cook with. So we heated ours first, but hey, I need you to just go ahead and just put it in a fire out there. If you've got like a propane torch, just cauterize that thing really good. I mean, clean it up best way you can, just get it on there. Now go back to your butcher and get that prime rib, just like we always been talking about, certified Angus beef, but you're gonna need something else, some butcher's twine. Because if we didn't tie this up, what would happen, you think?
Well, I think it might split open. That cap might start separating from the eye itself.
The most important part of this video, there's really 2 things. Let that meat come to room temperature, and we gotta monitor that oil. So what oil are we talking about? And a lot of people ask me on the video, what oil did you use? That day we used peanut oil. But folks, the best oil that I think you can use for this, and you can get it at Sam's, you can get it at Costco's, creamy fry oil. It comes in a 5-gallon little box. Them tongs is good for a reason, because we can just set right there and go in so easy like, and it's gonna keep us off the bottom. We're gonna probably try to cook this to an internal temperature somewhere between about 87 to 90. Long in there?
That seems so low.
Yeah, but when we rest this thing, what's gonna happen?
Here's what happens. It's gonna climb big time, because you're used to maybe doing prime rib in the oven and maybe a hot oven, and that's a lot of energy you put on that rib. And so we know about carryover cooking. It's continue to climb. But this is extreme heat that
Yes.
we're introducing to it, meaning the pressure is going to be there. It's going to keep cooking. That internal temperature is going to keep rising well after we pull this out.
That's right. Well, we've been on about 7.5 minutes, probably pretty close to that. So I want viewers to know you need to keep an eye on this temp gauge. You may have to regulate your heat because we're running pretty close to what, like 325, 330?
330 right
Because
now.
you don't want to keep this at 350 throughout this cooking. You will burn something. Give me a little check on some temp, and don't that look pretty?
Oh, wow. I'm going to put a little probe down right into try to find that eye. And we're still at 45 degrees.
45,
44, 45. So it's still pretty cold
All
in
right,
there.
so we're just going to go back down and just keep frying along. But make sure them tines are resting on the bottom. You don't want your roast setting on the bottom of the oil. Make sure them tines are all the way through. You're at the top of your pitchfork, but the oil is covering the top as well. We have reached that internal temperature of about 82.
Yes, that's
82
about right.
degrees. We've still got this good color going on here. We've been on pretty close to 32 or 3 minutes. Now, deep frying this rib roast like this, you're not going to wait till this temperature gets up to like 110, 115 and pull it like we did these others. If you do, you're going to be overcooked. Okay, so we're going to pull this at about 90 degrees to 93. And so I think it's time for this thing to come out of there and pull that probe.
Good.
There we go. So, we've put up a lot of tents in our life, hadn't we? Let's go ahead and run him there, but just want to close him just a little where he's still getting a little circulation, but we can capture that heat. And it's going to have a longer rest time to let that temperature come up, because look at how much concentrated heat we've had on this big old rib roast as it sits in there, frying all the way around. So there's more internal heat coming out of there than what there would be off that smoker. That's what I'm after. So
That's gorgeous.
yes.
But I always find that the outside's just not giving me the crust I like. And this is the technique.
Ooh, that is
to
it.
Get
The
that.
new holiday tradition.
The new holiday tradition.
Yes.
Prime rib in the deep fry.
Yes. I mean, it don't get no better than that, my friend. And
You want a bite of this, right?
I do, Michael. I do want a bite of that
Just go
piece.
hands in. I'm going back for a little crispy on that. That's
There you go. Do it. Do it with yes, sir. This is what's happening. Foolproof prime rib, smoked prime rib, and what? Pitchfork prime rib. That's what I'm talking about, folks. But what is most important that we want to get to you across in this video? Hey, we love you. Me and Shannon, all the pups do. We thank you so much for making this a great year. And hey, we have a Merry Christmas every day because y'all are a part of our family. But remember, be sure and hit the like button, be sure and comment, and be sure and share the video with the friends, with the neighbors, and invite them over and let's let them eat. I think in closing today too, I would like to give y'all a little something that I hear, and it's my most favorite Christmas song of all time from Alan Jackson. So there's a verse in there, and I'm just going to read it to you because to me it just sort of sums up what this is all about. Let heavenly music fill the air. Let anger and fear and hate disappear. Let there be love all through the year, and let it be Christmas, Christmas everywhere. Folks, if we could take that message and use it 365 days, hey, we'd let it be Christmas every day. But thank y'all so much for taking time out of your day to watch this little special edition. And folks, I think we're going to start running some Sunday videos at you and see how y'all like them. So be sure and keep up with it. That's why you got to hit that notification bell to make that dinger-dong bell go ding-a-dong, ding-a-dong, ding-dong, ding-dong. I'm going to sing about Jingle Bell Rock, Jingle Bell, round the clock. Woo, woo, man! To all our service men and women, no matter if you're home, or if you're abroad, or if you're stationed somewhere away from family, when you turn this on and you watch us, family's with you. Because me and Shannon's right there beside you. You remember that, because y'all are what gets us through every day, and this is the reason we make videos for all the fans. I don't care where you're at. For the rest of you, come on in here. We ain't got no taste tester size one. He's right there. He said he could eat a whole prime rib by itself, so hope you enjoy this, folks. Put them to good use. Let me know what you think about it. Like, comment, share. God bless you each and every one. I'm going to give you a Christmas hug because I love you. In this special episode, we have a beeping somewhere in the background that we don't know where it's coming from, okay? Now, for my second all-time most favorite way to cook a prime rib.
Rib.
I don't know what's going on here.
I don't know.
Okay.
Go ahead.